Hi, I'm Carolyn Wainscott, or as I've chosen to be called, the Prairie Point Diva, here on www.favequilts.com, and on other segments at FaveQuilts, I've shown you how to do a one fabric prairie point that went on this little quilt, and then we did the two fabric prairie
On today's
point.
www.favequilts.com, we'll be demonstrating how to put together 5 fabrics into the prairie points. And they're all fun to do. So let's get busy. To make prairie points from multiple fabrics, I've chosen one main fabric and I've cut this strip 4 1/4 inches wide. This is to allow for the 1/4 inch seam allowance. There are 4 different fabrics here. They are cut 4 inches wide by 4 1/4 inches long. That's to allow for the 1/4 inch seam allowance that will be sewn onto the main fabric. And then these will be 4-inch blocks, just like we've been working with. And these will get placed right sides together. There are 2 of these, so I'm going to lay this back. And they will be butted straight up against each other and sewn. I'm going to put this one last. These will be sewn straight down through here, and I will continue in pattern until I get to the end of the strip. I have my 1/4 inch piecing foot, and I'll be sewing in pattern as the pieces are laid here. Make sure these are exactly against each other. You can add as many different patches as you want. I've chosen 4. Plus the main color. So all I have to mark is side. Since these are already cut and marked for me, just had to make sure that I'm coming down to the center of each of those 4-inch pre-cut squares. Now we'll cut these, making sure that these I do not cut into the seam. We do have to turn this around and before we can start folding and cut the seam allowance to the seam. Being careful again not to cut into your seam line. Starting with block number 1. Folding just like with the other prairie points. Block number 1 gets folded up. Block number 2 is brought down. And pinned. We'll go to number 3. Up to number 4. And this continues on down the line until the whole strip is folded. So this is the Prairie Point Diva at www.favequilts.com, and we want to thank you for joining us here, where you'll find all kinds of tips and tutorials on every phase of quilt making. And you can also friend us on Facebook and show us your photos of your quilts. We'd be glad to see them.